You're not gonna make it. No, you ain't gonna make it. You're not gonna make it, but you can. Welcome to You're Not Gonna Make It, the show where I discuss threats that may prevent you from making it. I'm Kevin. If you see someone in real life and think, damn, that's a cool ass beard, or damn, their head is really shaped nicely, and you feel bad about yourself because you don't look as cool, then you're falling for the comparison trap, which is the topic for now. And right now, it is the worst it's ever been, because as you can imagine, the comparison trap is when you have a habit of comparing your self-worth, your self-esteem, basically yourself, to others, and then you feel bad about it. Everywhere you look, there are tons of opportunities to feel bad about yourself. Whether we're talking about online, social media, in the movies, TV, just the average not the average person. The average person kind of sucks, so not that. But let's say on platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. The way the algorithm works, they're going to be showing you the most popular, best looking things. So you're going to see the fittest people possible, steroids or not, the most attractive people possible, filters or not. And the more you see them, the more they're going to be fed to you. And you're going to be thinking, wow, this is normal. And if I don't look like this, I am a piece of shit. But the thing is, most of those images are not reflective of reality. Yeah, there are some people who are pretty fit, pretty attractive in real life. Most people are not. I mean, they're fine. But what you're seeing on social media, what's being fed to you is pretty much the best possible image of a human being all the time. And yeah, a lot of people have different opinions of what the best human being would look like, but that's the thing about social media. Whatever you think it is, it'll feed you more of that. So it's going to make you feel bad specifically. Even outside of social media in real life, let's say you go to the gym, at least half the people there are probably fitter than you, thinner than you, maybe better looking than you too. But you got to remember that's also a filtered, edited version of reality in a way. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying everyone's wearing like a bunch of fucking makeup and contouring for their muscles and stuff, right? What I'm saying is, if you're at the gym, the other people who are going to be there with you are people who care about their fitness, appearance, whatever it is. So because of this, you're seeing a different breed of person compared to the average person. And if you don't believe me, try this. Go to a gym, look around, see who's there, look at the average person there. Then immediately after you're done with the gym, go to a supermarket, look around, see the average person there. A world of difference. The average person's pretty fucking fat and not in good shape. So don't think the entire world is like what you see online or what you see at the gym. The average person is very different. Not to say you want to be like them necessarily. But what I'm saying is, in terms of comparison, don't be silly with it. Don't choose the top 1% of humans to compare yourself to. In reality, you should really only compare yourself to your past self, but that's up to you. Most people who suffer from the comparison trap are young people because they don't know any fucking better. And I'm not saying like those weirdos who are over 40, they say, oh man, wait till you're over 40, you're going to get fat like everyone else. No, they're fucking wrong and lazy and stupid. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying young people literally have not been alive long enough to really understand the full breadth of the human experience. They don't know how people are. They just see shit that's online or in the movies or whatever. So they just see a very curated view of the world. They're seeing people on the big screen who take steroids to look like literal superheroes, and they're seeing people online who use filters and also steroids and, sucking in their stomach with great lighting, shit like that. Again, not saying there aren't people who look awesome in real life. I'm saying is most of the stuff you see is selective and optimal for cameras, let's say. Another group that's a huge victim to the comparison trap is women. Every time I see a woman who's in Hollywood or anywhere really, and they're like 60 years old, they're wearing a shit ton of makeup, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Yes, personal responsibility enters into it big time. They don't have to keep up all this shit, right? But it is unfortunate that society as a whole has kind of, pushed women to basically be afraid of aging. If you're not thin, have a perfect face, and a fat ass at 50, you're a piece of shit woman and should kill yourself. That is the message that society puts out there, if you think about it. And it's unfortunate. Their beauty standards are odd, especially when you talk about fitness, because women in the fitness space, there need to be more of them, but in a good way. As in, there need to be women who are not afraid to become stronger, become healthier, do a fucking pull-up. But the majority of what women see online are these women who is focused on their butt cheeks, do that stupid fucking pose, so their cheeks are popping in the pictures, use the filters, all that shit. Just focus on one half of their body only. Sometimes even worse, some of these influential, quote unquote, women, they lie about what they're doing. They say, yeah, man, I just do the booty blasting glute fucking shit. Not telling people, hey, actually, I'm squatting heavy with a barbell. But I know most women are scared of that, so I'm not going to say that. So yeah, women, girls, just do that booty shit, which fucks up women's minds more because they think, oh man, I'm not doing this stupid fucking butt shit, so I'm failing because of that. No, it's because you're not eating properly and working out properly. And you're fucking scared to put on any amount of muscle, even though that is literally what will get you to look the way you want to get. But anyway, next one. Beginners suffer a lot from the comparison trap because they're starting at level 0, level 1. They step into the gym. Like I said, those people are top 1, maybe top 5% of people. And these beginners come in and I see, wow, these people are fitter than me. I'm a piece of shit. And they just feel bad thinking, oh my God, it's been 2 months and I don't look like these people. And man, I'm making a bad comparison. And all this is exacerbated by social media because, again, everything is curated to show people the absolute 1%, 0.001% of people. Then you add filters and steroids on top of that, and it's just a fucking minefield for a shit-ass self-esteem. Now, even myself, who's been exercising for over 15 years, I have a pretty fucking good idea of what I'm doing. I'm aware that I should only be comparing myself to my past self, and in that regard, I'm doing way better than I ever have. But even still, sometimes it can still happen that I compare myself to others, either online or in person. I think, wow, look at that guy's fucking shoulders. That's crazy. Wow, that guy's looking thick in his... I don't know if you know this, but if you get really heavy into fitness, you become kind of gay, but it's not helpful for the comparison either. So yeah, it's it can affect everyone. You just got to remember, hey, you got to compare yourself to the right things if you're going to be doing that at all. Now, I will say comparison can be helpful. Like the example I just gave you, comparing yourself to your past self can be great. You can see how far you've come. You can do some progress, photos. You can look with objective evidence of where you were, where you've come from, and hopefully that inspires you to progress even more. And if you have a buddy who you want to compare yourself to at the gym, the competition can be pretty helpful. You can think, oh man, that guy is beating me. I'm going to do better. It can be helpful, this whole comparison thing. In general, not so much though. I'm going to give you some numbers. In 2023, there's a study that found image-based social media platforms, which is basically everything, they significantly increase body dysmorphia in teenagers, specifically 16 to 18. And if you don't know, body dysmorphia is basically where you are sincerely unhappy with the person you see in the mirror and you don't feel like them. You feel like you should be someone else and you hate what you see in the mirror. It's not good. 25% of Fitspiration followers. I'm assuming that's people who follow a lot of fitness accounts online. About a quarter of them report dissatisfaction when comparing themselves to the influencers that they do follow. So they're trying to get inspiration for their fitness, but a big amount of them are actually feeling worse. So that's cool. Spending less time on social media reduced body dysmorphia by about 50% in a study conducted by American Psychological Association. Yeah. I mean, they should say how much less time in the study, but yeah, 50%, that makes sense. When you're not being bombarded with all this imagery of perfect people, you don't feel shitty. I think that's a huge surprise here. Now, like I mentioned before, there can be some positives to comparison. For example, people who exercise alongside people who they view as quote unquote better, they work up to 200% harder. That can be cool, but the downside is that they risk burnout. They try to push beyond their limits. They do shit that they're not ready for, and they can hurt themselves and then give up because they feel bad because they're injured now. And this can even apply to some of those fitness apps like Strava. I've never used that, but people use it to compare their running. I'm assuming resistance training as well. It's sharing in an online community, the fitness progress you're making, which is kind of cool. But again, with the comparison stuff, you may be thinking, oh man, he got this score on this run. I'm going to try to beat this. And then again, burnout, higher stress, not great. If you have a shit ton of exposure to this fitness inspiration content, that can be associated with negative mood changes, appearance anxiety, and basically internalizing damn near impossible body ideals. Really unsurprising. If you're following a lot of bodybuilders, for example, and you see them at fucking competition level, you're going to be thinking, oh man, I don't look like that. I'm a piece of shit. Not remembering that not only do bodybuilders have to get into very low, borderline dangerous body fat levels, they only do it temporarily, and they use bronzer to accentuate what muscles they have. So you're seeing literally peak human musculature when you see that. So to compare yourself to that is fucking stupid. Now, older adults report lower tendencies for appearance-based comparisons than younger people. And you would think, oh, because they're older and wiser, they've learned stuff, they understand how the world is. No, it's because they have less exposure to social media, which I don't know if that's true or not. My dad uses Facebook a fuck ton. I don't know if that's true, but probably less than the average teenager. But if older adults use social media as often as the teenagers these days do, they probably feel just as shitty. Here's something that's helpful in terms of this whole comparison trap. Realize that it is fucking useless. Yes, maybe it is helpful for you to compare yourself to someone who's stronger, better than you, to get a bit closer to their level. But what if you reach that level? Will there be someone else who's better? Of course. There will always be someone who is better, stronger, bigger, more attractive, taller, leaner. There's literally always going to be someone better in some way. So if you chase this comparison, you will quite literally never be satisfied. So just remember that. You're thinking, oh man, I see this guy online or in person. He's so much better than me. Okay, maybe that's true, but guess what? There's a shit ton of people better than him too. So don't waste your time worrying and comparing. You will never be number one. There's a bit of freedom to that. You will never be the best. No one will. There's always going to be someone better than someone else in some way. So fuck that shit. Just compare yourself to your past self or someone super close to you maybe who's a bit better. Then you can, have a friendly competition if you want to. But just compare yourself to your past self and use your progress as inspiration for yourself. That is the number one way to stop with this shit. Just remember, the person you think is way better than you, that person is thinking someone else is way better than them. And it's just a constant ladder. So don't climb it. Fuck that shit. And another thing you can do to help you out with this comparison trap is to limit social media exposure. I recommend for everyone, no matter what you're using, YouTube, Instagram, even text-based stuff, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, if that's still around, like just anything. Put a fucking timer on your usage. Basically, every modern phone can do this natively on iOS. I think it's called Screen Time. On Android, it's Digital Wellbeing. If not, you can, Android gives you options. So you can download any number of app blocking applications or app limiting things. Put timers on your social media. Do it on your computer as well. You can get extensions for pretty much any browser to limit. I recommend Stay Focused. No E at the end because they're cool. And you put timers. If you're a noob, as in you spend like 6 hours a day on social media, put the timer, start it at 2 hours. That should be fine. And if you run out of time, you should be thinking not, oh man, I need more time. You should be thinking, why don't I feel satisfied? Did I do what I was going to do? No? Well, change that. I would get it down to an hour eventually. Let me check mine right now. I actually have 2 separate timers. One on my phone for certain things at about 35 minutes, and then on my computer for the same things about 15 minutes. So in total, 50 minutes per day that I can possibly waste on some shit. It doesn't have to be wasteful. Of course, it can be productive or helpful in some kind of way. But a lot of this stuff, it's kind of, it throws you down the rabbit hole of depression. So instead of spending about 3 hours comparing yourself to all these people, put a timer on there. When it runs out, if you're like, well, no, wait, I need to compare myself to more people, then just use that moment to reflect on what the fuck you just said. And as you get older, what you can do to also help with this is shift your priorities. Yeah, when you're 20, you probably have getting abs as your number one priority. They're not that big of a deal, honestly. What's more important is that you're able to move properly, and not just in terms of mobility and flexibility, but just, making sure if you open a door, it's not fucking hard or it hurts or something. I would advise everyone to just, instead of focusing purely on aesthetics, listen, like if you work out properly, you will just look better in general, just by default, right? Instead of working out, oh my God, I'm working on my calves and my fucking forearm muscles. Yeah, baby. Just, focus on actual movements because that's what's going to matter later on. You can have abs, but if you need a walker, it's not, it's not cool. And one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you as a recommendation is to just remember most of social media is fucking fake. And I'm not saying that there aren't people who are fit, attractive, whatever on social media. I'm saying is a lot of it is very, very carefully edited and shared. And nowadays, like 1/4 of that shit is AI. So, just remember that. Not to discount people's hard work. I'm just saying a lot of what these platforms feed you is just shit to make you either depressed and quote unquote aspire to something and just keep you scrolling. If you feel bad in the process, fuck you. They'll just make you scroll for things that'll make you feel less depressed. So they win either way. So don't play that game. Just focus on yourself. Focus on real life. If you feel bad, you really want to do a comparison, go to the fucking supermarket, look around, and realize you're doing pretty decently. Leave a comment. Tell me who's the most famous person you've wanted to compare yourself to. I think for me, it's probably Jason Statham, maybe. I think he's the only guy in the world who looks good with his balding, his like receding hairline, his stubble. I don't know, it looks good. I wish my head were quite that cool. See, I'm falling for the comparison trap right now. My head is pretty cool. I can't do anything about it, but I don't think I would look that cool if I let my hair grow out. You saw that fucking Vegeta hairline? That shit would be wild. So, anyway, just gonna focus on me. Let me know. Have you compared yourself to The Rock? Are you stupid? Anyway, see you next time.